And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live here at Citizen Television. Tweets already coming in so thick and so fast, probably because Herman Manyora is on the bench. This man never fails us. You call him, he's here. And he's here today. Good to see you, sir.
Good.
The past week, not just today, this past week has been unprecedented in our history. In fact, probably half our audience doesn't remember the last time this kind of event happened. 42 years ago is a long time.
It's a long time.
Your thoughts about, first of all, this past week's events?
Well, it's been a week that we've been mourning. Somebody we loved, others hated. It's been tough for some people.
Yeah.
But looking at what happened from Tuesday, was it yesterday? It looks like ages ago.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
From Nyayo Stadium to Kabrak.
Yes.
Oh, incredible.
Incredible, huh?
You cannot believe this is happening.
But Herman, the military precision. I mean, these guys, even the military hasn't done this in 4 decades.
It's awesome.
But they were, boom, but everything was on time, on the clock.
I'm telling you, I've talked to fellows outside this, from Europe, America. They can't believe this is happening in Africa.
Yeah.
You can't believe it. Kudos to our guys in the military.
Yeah.
They made us proud.
They did.
And Moi has been given a send-off like none that I've seen in my life.
In modern history?
In modern history.
None.
None. It's wonderful.
And you know, we have to give credit to the president as well, you know, because he was in America when this thing happened.
Yes, yes.
And he had that proclamation, remember presidential proclamation?
Yes, yes, yes.
And as soon as he touched back, I mean, this guy has been leading from the front.
Correct.
Day one.
Yes, yes.
Huh?
We must really say thank you to the president for helping the nation mourn its former president, to our military, to top public servants, Matiangi and Kibicho.
Yes.
They've done a splendid job, a splendid job. You know, people are joking around town and saying, if these guys in this country would work like this on other issues, we will be a first world country in 5 years. It was something, we will need some time to talk about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
If they could only do this with other... Okay. So now we're going to go to an event that happened today. Maybe some people missed it, but in case you missed it, I want to play this videotape so that you can see and let's get a comment. Let's take a listen.
Mimi ndio kweli the leader of this family now. Lakini kwa kisiasa wacha mimi naamsha Gideon. Gideon kuja. Kwa kisiasa itakuwa huyu, sibo?
Hata kushika hii rungu anyway, nitashika and I'll do my best na nitajaribu nikiweka Mwenyezi Mungu mbele.
Hata kushika hii rungu.
Yes.
Nitashika. Okay. Other than that,
the first thing you notice is the humility with which Gideon takes this thing. That humility is rare in this country. Others would have taken the room and said,
Fimbo ya Nyayo.
You see that humility? And this is what I captured.
Okay. Raymond calling his younger brother.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Yes. You said, you know, kwa siasa, where Gideon kuja.
Chukua irungu. Fimbo ya Nyayo. That is very symbolic. And I think it leaves no doubt now that Gideon is a man to watch in Kenyan politics. I want to be very guarded in the manner I speak. Yeah. I was in your sister's station on Sunday last week.
We heard you.
You heard me, and I said something, and Twitter has been on fire.
It has been.
People have called me names.
What did you say?
I just said, in my understanding of things, if I'm reading things correctly. Now you want me to say it again?
You predicted.
I said that in 2022, the scheme might be to give Raila Odinga this thing in much the same way Kibaki was given to hold brief as Uhuru was going through the ropes and being processed to be president. Nobody in their right senses would have believed Moi wanted Uhuru to be president in 2002. Even just looking at him, he wouldn't have been president.
No.
So you needed some time to process him. And therefore you needed a guy who was compliant. And this is the role Kibaki played. And I said, I can see Raila playing the same role in 2022 for 5 years as Gideon is being processed. And come 2027, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't become the president of this country. I'm not saying that's what I want. I think I must clarify these things.
Absolutely.
When you see what's going on since Moi died, what has been going on, and then ending in what you saw today, what you have just played, that is big. Moi's funeral and Moi's death, the past 1 week or so, must serve to open the eyes of those who have been denying the fact that there must be a scheme that will finally end with Gideon being president.
Tell me something.
That is a scheme by some people. It doesn't have to succeed.
Sure.
I'm saying that could be the scheme.
Absolutely.
And believing how powerful the forces are, I am tempted to think they could succeed.
But tell me something, Herman.
Yes.
That event, that moment was scripted.
Yeah.
It was not an impromptu moment.
How would you come just like that? They will knock you out with your ngozi. Wale wazee wamevaa wangepigwa sana. Reke squad is there. They will carry you shoulder and throw you away.
Correct.
So it was
scripted.
Scripted, yeah.
And it was deliberate.
Deliberate. And it must have been painful to the deputy president.
I was about to allude to that.
It must have been a very painful moment. Such as Mudavadi went through when Moi finally told the country that ni huyu mzee Uhuru Kenyatta. I could see Mudavadi's face. It must have been very painful.
Okay, so what does that do to Ruto now, who is the heir apparent? He's the king of the rift, or has been for long, considered the king of the rift.
He'll still be the king of the rift. It will be difficult to dethrone Ruto from the Rift Valley. But I have said, by 2021, if this script works the way I can see it going, if it works, by 2021, the people in the Rift Valley will be beginning to have question marks. And at that time, Gideon Kipsiele Moi, with now the rungu ya Nyayo, fimbo ya Nyayo, will begin to activate networks left behind by Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, and he will give William Ruto a run for his money. Because at that time, his people will begin to see it looks like it's over for him. And you know how human beings behave. Human beings are attracted to power. They'll begin to move towards power. And if Gideon happens to be that man that assures them of power, not all of them, and I know many people will hate this, I will also not maybe like it. So I think I have to clarify this. I'm not saying what I like, because Kenya think I'm a despot. Miguna has tweeted telling me I'm a despot. That I should not even teach any Kenyan child.
Correct.
Leave alone a university.
Yeah.
Even in a primary school. So I had to revise my tweet to tell Miguna, okay, you'll be the president in 2022. Can you now allow me to teach? You see, people have to distinguish between what I want, what I think is good for Kenya, and my reading of things. This is just my reading of things. If you see that rungu being handed over to Gideon, what comes to your mind?
It was significant. I mean, it was unprecedented. It's never happened.
Yes.
And from an older brother who's the head of the household, if you will, Raymond is the head of the household.
Yes. And the body language of the people around, the major players, without mentioning them, what did you see? Because we have eyes and we're able to see. So from what we see, then we can say there's something cooking here.
Okay, let me ask you this, Amen. When Ruto spoke, he got huge applause. Huge applause.
Yes.
More than Gideon, if I may say.
Definitely more than Gideon.
So what does that say, you who reads?
I have told you, of course you know rallies have that's a rally, the public gathering is like, it's just a rally, it's a political rally. But public political gathering, there are always intrigues, there are always games played. I could bring more people to a rally and place them strategically. I may appear to be more popular than you, but I'm not saying that's what happened. Because it doesn't need to be that. Why? Ruto is a king of the Rift Valley. If people were to die to put him in power, there'll be thousands of people willing to die for William Ruto from the Rift Valley. So I'm not surprised to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still. And I said, he has to play it in such a way he maintains that. Because with the Fimbo Yanyayo, held by Gideon Moi, tough times lie ahead for him.
Okay, speaking of Fimbo,
Yes.
which was always present with Daniel Arap Moi. He never went anywhere without the Fimbo.
Yes,
In
yes.
fact, his personal aide, Press Secretary Lin Jiru, talked about an event where Moi's Fimbo fell and broke.
Yes.
In fact, let's take a listen, then we'll comment. Let's take a listen to this.
Yes, yes.
Now, Moi became a president at the age of roughly 53. So that one is supposed to be a warrior. So Rungu is to fight for Kenya, not to fight Kenyans, to fight for them.
No, that's not the one where he talked about the rungu. Do we have that? He talked about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay.
They
He
had
was
to
on
wait
this
for
bench.
it for
He was on
another
this
spare
bench.
part from
They
Kenya.
were heading to the Commonwealth in
Commonwealth
Australia.
meetings. Yeah.
Somewhere in America. He got off the plane. The rungu fell. It broke. And they had to call Nairobi.
Yeah.
Nairobi, they said, get that rungu to Australia before we get there.
Yes.
And they had to overnight in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yeah, so that they could.
The time difference and all that. So, I mean, what does that mean?
Well, you could say, yes. You know, leadership, power has its own games, including even in developed countries. You hear people doing all manner of rituals, including, things you can't even say on television. We have had people here saying they want to be president, and therefore they have been spotted in some forest with a huge snake. There are things about leadership, honestly.
Yes.
That's why you and I are not leaders. We may not have the skin for it.
Yes.
And, so, one, it can just be used to it. Secondly, it could be something you've used in a certain way. And really you believe in it. Some ritual has been performed, and this part of your leadership, and you can't move without it.
Yeah.
It could be like that. But again, it could just be something themselves used to.
So do you expect to see...
You could feel, even we are so used to phones sometimes. If you go somewhere you are not supposed to have a phone, you keep going to your pocket. It's like you are...
Where's my phone?
Like if you go to State House.
Yeah. You think Gideon will carry his? No, well, you think he'll...
It will be very difficult for him.
Huh?
It will be very difficult. He will look awkward.
Carrying the rungu?
Yes.
Oh.
He'll look very awkward.
Why?
Come on, it's been overtaken. Somebody was interviewing me on some media house somewhere. I think some print media somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were asking me about the rungu, the fly whisk, now rungu. Those are things that have been overtaken by time. I was telling this young man there were times almost all politicians had a pipe. Kiko.
Really?
Sporting a goatee.
Yes.
That you couldn't be a leader without a goatee. And then maybe a pipe.
Yes.
And then a bakora was not a question of age. And then a godfather. You look awkward when you are in those things now. So I don't think Gideon will color. This is just symbolic.
Okay.
But it does pass a powerful message to the Kalenjin community and to the competitors. They must know this is not a joke. Gideon is now, he's been very guarded. I talk to people like Salat, people like Kamuket. Ask, what does Gideon say about president? If he was buying you lunch, and you want to pay for that lunch yourself, ask him about the presidency. Because the first time you ask him, he'll tell you these things have their own time. Let's work. If you do that the second time, then Gideon will not like it.
Okay.
So speaking of he's very guarded.
Yeah. Speaking of Gideon, he went out of his way the last couple of days talking about how he was at his father's side up until his death.
Yes.
On the 4th of February at 5:20 a.m. Yeah. He kept saying, I would go there in the daytime, go back in the evening and spend time with him. Yeah. Obviously, he was the father's favorite. There's no doubt about that.
Goes without saying.
Right? The question is, can he fill his father's shoes?
They say fire begets ash. And if you look at politicians in this country whose fathers were tough people, they have not quite been able to match their fathers. We don't need to mention them. They are all over here. You know them. Some have sat here with you and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So I'm not seeing somebody very easily being a Moi. A Moi was professor of politics. We look now back and say, people keep saying, they tell you that Kamani Moi he, Kamani he. All of us say that, and it is true.
Yeah.
He had a way with the politics that few people could pretend to match. Uhuru is a very good president, but is far off the mark compared to Moi. Therefore, I'm not expecting Gideon to be like his father, but you can never know. Until you field a guy and give him a position to play football, you may not quite know.
Right.
Yeah. So
he's coming off.
But one thing you must we have talked about is that many people say Gideon's nothing. You can't compare him to Ruto. Even you see Twitter and Facebook and all these social media things.
Correct.
People are saying, oh, maybe even Raymond. They don't know Gideon is a true Kalenjin. Sometimes I wonder, Gideon looks to me in his approach to politics, special succession politics, more of a Kalenjin than Ruto.
How so?
Kalenjin are people who are observant. They observe, they talk very little. They talk very little. I come from a place where we are mixed with Kalenjin. Things will happen you will never know. They don't talk. That's why the Akwimi report was, to me, just laughable. They expect the Kalenjin talk about tribal. Right. They don't. They just Morgan. I don't know. That's how. So, the way his father approached his ambition, actually the way he went about his ambition of wanting to succeed Kenyatta, could more or less what Gideon is doing. So that what Ruto is doing quite different from that. You are not saying it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruto is out there. Atroli has said it. Yeah. If you wanted to be president, please, you should have gotten advisors like him to tell you, please, nyenyekea. Machiavelli, don't outshine your boss. Yes. There's even something people have been peddling, you could laugh at. People are saying, Ruto is a very bad man. How does he give a speech without reading? And then Uhuru proceeds to read his. What does he want to show? He's attributed to commander. Maybe it's social media is full of stuff. But the idea is the two have a very different approach. If they are indeed both interested in succeeding President Kenyatta or getting to leadership of this country at some point, Gideon has an approach similar to his father's. And it resonates with my understanding of how the Kalenjin people behave. They are people who are very guarded. And then Ruto, who is more Kalenjin, he speaks better Kalenjin, he's been on the ground, he's a village boy, he's a chicken man and all these kind of things.
Hustler versus dynasty.
I would have expected it to be the other way around. I would have expected the townsboy Gideon not to know how to approach these things about leadership, how not to show your ambition openly, how to go tactfully as you want to succeed your boss. But it's the other way around. That strikes me as a little odd. And for that reason, I tell those who are underrating Gideon to be prepared for serious surprise.
Really? Tell me something.
And by the way, I've never met Gideon in my life.
You've never?
Never. I've never sat near him. I've never shook his hand. He doesn't even know me.
I went to school with him.
I know you are big people. I know.
But I don't say. I just whisper loudly.
When I say like this, you check Twitter, they will be saying Gideon has bought me. I've never met the guy. Not on phone, not in real life.
Tell me something.
But
even with his bad Swahili, Doctari.
Yes.
Baba Ali Penda Nyama Sana. Anyway, did he endear himself to the people, even with his bad Swahili? Did he endear himself to Kenyans in the last couple of days?
Death has a way, when death occurs in a family, it attracts certain sympathy and, people get to understand you sometimes differently from the perspective of now, the tragedy, the death, the mourning. That, of course, is also at play. But if you look at the way this thing has been played and his role, and especially today, I had people talking just before I came here. There was some place people were saying, hey, come, this guy can speak. You see when he stood to speak, forget about the Nyayo one. Even the Nyayo one, when he's talking about his father and the car. Few people expected that. But today he came out in a way that really people are beginning to say, there's something here. And this, I keep saying, and I've told you many times since I sat here, this must be something to watch.
Watch this space.
They say that. Those who know English like you. Those who went to St. Mary's.
Gideon's
But
father.
you don't say.
No, I don't say.
Yes.
Gideon's father said KANU will rule for 100 years.
Yes.
KANU has been in the desert for a while now. Is this the wake-up call for KANU?
KANU was never in the desert. Where? Kibaki was KANU. Who was more KANU than Kibaki? Please mention one man in this country alive now who is more KANU.
Then Kibaki.
They don't have to say like Atwoli says he'll never leave KANU.
KANU did say...
his understanding, Atwoli says, my understanding of life is life. It cannot be life member, then tomorrow you are not. But who is more KANU than Kibaki? Who is outside KANU from all these leaders? Uhuru Kenyatta, in fact, what was Atwoli telling us again today, that he wanted, Uhuru was requesting the Atwolis to convince Nyayo to allow him to rebrand KANU to use in 2013.
Correct.
Atwoli told him, I think, this will not work. But what did Uhuru do? He still went for KANU colors.
Yeah.
And instead of a jogo, he squeezed their bird. Do you see the bird?
Yeah. So it's still KANU.
It's KANU. All these guys are KANU. They are all KANU. None of them is not KANU. So KANU has been nowhere. Let me ask you, Jeff. If really the things people talked about Moi, if Moi was as bad as people have said, and he did the many bad things people have said, and the two successful presidents have succeeded him, what has changed about KANU and Moi in this country? All the Moi schools are still called Moi. Everything Moi, Nyayo this, Moi this, they are still there. Which one has been removed? Any? Have you seen one that has been changed?
No.
Nyayo Stadium, has it changed?
Still Nyayo Stadium.
Moi International
Kasarani.
Moi University?
Still.
Moi girl this, Moi girls this, Moi boy. What has changed?
None of them changed.
These are KANU people. They are all KANU. This country will have to wait for a while for Miguna and the rest to mature quantitatively. They could be there qualitatively.
Yeah.
The numbers are not there.
Yeah.
You will have to wait, save for some strange and quick happening, a revolution. And I keep telling my leaders in this country, they are courting a revolution. Save for a revolution, we will need some while to have a different approach to our politics. But till that time, we are with KANU for a while. And it's going to be worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
I said this again on that TV and people really hated me. I said 2022, once Ruto has been vanquished, which is a scheme I can see, you can see too. Once Ruto has been vanquished and put in his place, 2022 will be a boardroom thing. Now, again, Kenyans, I'm not saying that's what I want. I am saying that's what is going to happen. You have the power to make it not happen.
Correct.
Unfortunately, you want. When Uhuru will go back to Kikuyus, they'll just vote for BBI. All these fellows will go. Mudavadi will come to us in Western.
Yeah.
And, Raila will go to the Luos and Joho, and we shall all BBI, PAP. And 2022 is going to be about negotiated. This is going to be a negotiated democracy.
For one term.
It won't be one term.
And then?
It will be for one term, and then the so-called dynasties, we must please Miguna again. The dynasties, the despots.
The despots.
Viva.
Viva.
He, as he is organizing, the despots are sharper than us.
Right.
They are seeing 30, 20 years. They may not get the 20 years, but 2022 they will get. 2027 up to 2032 they are likely to get. Kenyans will begin to occupy their space, demand their country.
Yeah.
From 2030 something.
You know, it's funny.
And that is if things go the way these so-called despots plan.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for the despots, things don't always work that way.
Sure.
Life has its own dynamics. And the way they keep stepping on people, making life difficult. Jeff, do you know I have nothing in this world, honestly. And I'm not saying that so that you give me something when I leave. I honestly have nothing. The way Manyora you see here, I'm just a teacher's salary and that's all I have. But you know, I pay fees for children. Mm-hmm. I pay fees for children who don't even speak my language. sometimes you come across a situation that is so
desperate.
You just have to, you even beg people to help people. So this country, people are suffering. You don't go to the village because you are St. Mary's and...
My village is here in Kiamba.
Kiamba. That's not a village. That's where billionaires stay. I will invite you to Luombei, my village in Viga. If you stay there for 2 weeks, you leave this country and go out.
You run away.
You run away. The kind of poverty. Especially in the villages down there. 100 shillings in a family is like 1,000,000 shillings to you. Let me tell you something you don't know. Where I come from, and I know many other parts of this country, people sell, a quarter kilo of sugar. They divide it using spoons to sell.
Huh?
I'm telling you, if the leaders of this country knew the poverty that is in this country, they would not behave the way they are. They would not steal the way they are stealing. But I'm telling Kenyans, even with all this suffering, you still allow them to have their way. And it's their way that I'm talking about now. Yeah. That up to 2030 something, unless there's a revolution here, they will have their way.
Herman, let me ask you this. Nick Salat.
Yes.
When he asked everyone, Tingiza,
and everybody,
the entire 50,000 people were Tingiza,
people.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he said, after this 7 days of mourning,
40 days.
40 days. What does that mean?
At Kabrak, to receive people who will come and say Paul to them, to commune with others. You heard Gideon saying there are people who have done wonderful things.
Yes.
They don't know how to thank them.
Right.
Some of these people will be invited. Some of them will be there to share a meal with the Moi family as a way of appreciation. But the politics inside is heavy. Oh, it's mega.
Can Gideon sustain that? I mean, can he keep going?
But if you've done a little history, no, not so much, because rich boys' kids just go and play in school.
I love history. I love history.
Then you would know.
Yes.
Most of the people, young people who became kings, they were never really capable of being kings.
No.
But there are people who are there to take care of things and deal. The guy in North Korea, you know what he was? Yeah. It is his uncle who brought him.
Correct.
I hear he's a bastard or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and brought him and said, take this throne here.
There are handlers.
Got him from a disco, dancing.
Correct.
Yeah, with that hairstyle of his. I told him, come and take your father. I said, no, I'm a stepson. Yeah. Come.
Yeah.
No, not a stepson, but an outsider. How to grow.
Correct.
Come. And the general, who is his uncle, was able to spruce him up, show him around. But Gideon has been around, the father, for all this while. You think there's a step he can't get right? He will get it right. This is scripted. They know who will come.
Yeah.
30% will be the true mourners. The rest will be politicians going to make political statements. And something will gather momentum. There will be a momentum created which will push this narrative and it will develop into something. As I say so, I must repeat before you ask me what you want to ask me. Break or something, whatever it is. This is not Manyora's liking. Yes. I think I'll be saying this. I decided I'll not come on TV again. But people want to kill me.
It's a theory. And it could be true.
Yes.
It could turn out to be true.
Yes.
Okay, so
why do you think they need 40 days?
Yeah.
There must be something.
So if you were William Samoei Arap Ruto right now,
yes,
what would you do? Having seen these whole scenes playing out in front of you, what would you be doing? What would you be thinking?
First you must say Ruto is a fighter. He's so tough. In fact, he's so tough. The guys who were scheming against him, if I'm right again, they thought he would carve in. They put the metal that is William Samoei Ruto in the fire. They thought it would
bend.
It is still there. Tough as ever. Still looking at them, it makes them very annoyed. And some of these things are because of that. Having said that, I must also now look at the reality on the ground. The reality is that the forces he's going against are just too powerful. He may have the ground. People are saying, we took a ground. In
different.
Yes. But things are never played for ground. These are schemes that are played by the people up there, including him.
Yeah.
So if the side he's going against has tougher players with a lot at their disposal, including the entire state machinery, the intelligence and everything, what I'll tell William Ruto is just that it is time to look at these things straight in the eye and make a decision. And the decisions are very simple. The decision is very simple. Do I give in? Say nimetii amri. Tufanye kazi pamoja. Kama mnagawa serikali, ile mtanigawia ninatosheka. The next option is to fight. And to fight, I can only tell William, you cannot fight from within government.
You have to fight from without.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
You can't fight the deep state.
This I've told him myself.
You can't fight the deep state.
I've told him, you have to fight from outside. And he says, which government? I can't leave this government. This is my government.
Yeah.
Which is true, this is government.
Yeah.
But I say, a time will come. It's a question of calculation. If you know you will leave, you have to calculate and know when to leave. Because at some point, the heat might be so much that you will have no option but to leave. Either you give up, you yield, say, wazee nimeamua, nyinyi ni kali. Nyinyi mmekuwa kali, nimeamua, nimetii amri. Munigawie kipande ya nyama, hata kama ni mkia.
Takula.
Takula tu.
There's a tweet here from Kipchumba Murkomen, Senator.
Yes.
Elgeyo Marakwet.
My good friend.
Your good friend.
Yes.
This is what he says right now, just in. There is something brewing, and I saw it today. It's going to be difficult to stop it.
What is that?
I don't know. He just said it. There's something brewing. It's going to be difficult to stop it.
Well,
It's the handing of the baton,
It could
the
be-
momentum,
it
what
could
the
be that.
symbolism.
It could be that. It could also, being from the other side, it could also be referring to the reception Ruto received. To signify that you could be talking at the front here, but the people there are saying no. Because the way they cheered Ruto.
Yes.
That's what he could be referring to. But I've already talked about that. I've already said, let me tell you this. You
Yeah.
come from Central. I know you don't go home. You're
I go home. I just told
and
you
the
my
home is
village.
just here in Nairobi. Why don't you go to Nyeri and stay even one day? And not Mount Kenya Safari Club. Ingia Karatina kidogo hata.
I love Mount Kenya Safari Club, actually.
I know. There you can't know anything. Move around. Ruto has a ground in a way
Yeah.
that would worry anybody in this country.
Yes. Yes,
It
no
would
doubt,
worry
no
who-
doubt about it.
If you go to Central,
Yeah.
my friend, I'm married from there. At least my second wife was there. You know, hallelujah, man. Let me
He is
tell
the
you,
ultimate
I go to
politician.
the village there.
Yeah.
There was a function there, and I say, habari za BBI na wasalimu. I had it not been that I'm their friend, they like me very much.
Okay.
They would have beaten me. The ground,
Is different.
it is Ruto in a manner you can't. But you see, that's not how politics works.
Right.
So, Murkomen, you calling me and advising, politics does not work like that.
Yeah, it's not a popularity contest.
No, you must translate the popularity into votes, and that's still that's not enough.
Yeah.
You must have somebody to make sure your votes count. So popularity into votes. But then, over and above that, there must be a way to ensure your vote counts. Again, we are a highly tribalized society.
Yes, we are.
At the right time, my in-laws, Agekoyo, I know them.
Adoniwa.
Oh, I know them.
Yeah.
I know them. At the last moment, somewhere around 2021 towards the end, they will just face Mount Kenya. So if I were Ruto and I was counting my votes, I will use what accountants call the prudence concept, where you understate your profit and overstate the costs. Prudence, yeah?
Yeah.
So, using that concept of prudence,
Yeah.
he will then, while doing his arithmetics, exclude the Mount Kenya vote. If without Mount Kenya he sees he has a chance, hii ingine iko ya kusurprise yeye.
Okay.
But if if it's a central thing in your arithmetics, forget about, just go home. Forget, go home. This you can't trust. Who can trust Agekoyo people? A friend of mine called you know a man called DS Njoroge.
DS,
this
yes.
kind of music and
He used to do
entertainment.
Correct.
Yeah.
DS.
He's a very good friend of mine. Actually, you know, he was in Kakamega for a long time.
Yes.
So he knows Kiru. I said, Abasere. This is Abasere. You know, what he told me is quite interesting. Say, they will come up with all sorts of sayings na misemo na thou. You know, here ifanywaga hivi kinafanywaga hii kunaendaga hivi hakwendaga hivi.
Boom.
But, you know, things don't always work in the same way.
That's right.
And that's why I say, plan as if you would not get. So that if you get, it just seals the deal.
Maybe you should talk to Ruto and his people.
I will, at a small fee.
I have a friend in Uganda.
Yes.
His name is Abu. He said yesterday's funeral and today's burial ceremony reminded him of the funeral of Kabaka Mutesa. Imagine. It was that symbolic. Again, finally, the meaning of this going forward. Give us your final thoughts.
I think, like I've said before, and it's very unfortunate for my friend William Ruto and his team, it's becoming certain, not clear, it's now becoming certain that, look here, don't forget, those who have been saying that Uhuru must be playing one of these two guys. He's either playing Raila
or Ruto.
Raila or Ruto. I've talked about Giku's now, my L and R is beginning to bring a problem. Now, do you think Uhuru can go to America and talk about the handshake and BBI if he doesn't mean it, if he doesn't believe it?
No, he would never have done that.
He would never have done that. So it's like the point of no return. And then when you see what has happened from the time Moi died until today, you must be somebody of monumental stupidity to still believe Uhuru is not for the handshake BBI deal and that deal does not include William Ruto. You must be somebody who doesn't quite use your mental faculties. So that is, to me, is a done deal. What happens after that depends on William Ruto himself. I've said he's a tough guy. Maybe he's watching these guys as they are coming and he's prepared for them. It's quite possible.
Yeah.
But from a human angle, just looking, knowing we are all human beings with our weaknesses and our strength, and that there are certain things as a human being, you have to say, this is too much. An ordinary man like me, I see Ruto climbing a mountain without the gear in winter.
Ooh.
It is difficult for him.
Herman Manyora, always nailing it every time. You know,
But
you
we
must
pray for him.
Huh?
We cannot end on such a sad note. I didn't know you were ending.
Who are we praying for?
For William Ruto, to give him strength, fortitude, and courage to be able to fight this war.
Because this one is...
And because he's a Christian, I'm sure today he will go on his knees before he sleeps.
All right.
With his very prayerful wife, Rachel. They will pray on this and God could give them direction.
Yeah. Maybe we should pray for you to trust Kikuyus more often.
Nobody can trust a Kikuyu. Only a dead one.
Did he just say that? Herman Manyora.
Good.
Good to see you, man.
Spare well.
Herman Manyora, he calls it like he sees it, without fear of contradiction and without fear of favor. Thank you so much for being a part of this monumental day, historic day in this country's history. I tell you, many of us never thought we'd see this day in a lifetime. We saw it once 42 years ago. It happened again today. I'll tell you, only in Kenya. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag, it's JKLive. And remember, every Wednesday, those three letters of the keyboard that follow each other, JKL.
Wow.
Wow is the word. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night. Good luck. God bless this amazing country of ours called Kenya.